Welcome along to Milan, where I'm taking a look at the brand new Volvo EX30. This is a very interesting car because in Ireland it's going to start after grants, after July, from €38,500. That is on the same price point as the Renault Megane E. It's a smaller car than the Volkswagen ID.3, but actually when you get into it and you discover how usable it is, there's not an awful lot in it. And it's going to have over 270 brake horsepower as standard. So there's a lot to get through today. Front of the car you have the Thor Hammer signature Volvo headlights. It's quite a friendly face. You know, if you imagine the Volvo badge as a nose and these are the eyes, it's quite soft. There's one little groove here and that's it. There are some air curtains over the front of the car for efficiency, but they've resisted the urge to have any sort of fancy grille thing going on. There is a front gunder here, but it's very small. You fit your Type 2 cable in. That's about it. Having a look around the sides of the vehicle, this one is on optional 20-inch alloy wheels. It's a little over 4 meters long. It's about 1.5 meters tall. You've got discs all around the vehicle. Again, some of the competitors have drums in the back, and they say that you don't use the rear discs that often on an EV, but Volvo are all about safety, so there's discs all around. Same signature wing mirrors on the vehicle. These house blind spot inside. You have a bitone roof. There's an optional glass sunroof on this car, but actually when you're looking out, it's almost like an Instagram filter. Whatever colour they've used on the inside, it works very well. So yes, it is a little bit shorter than an ID.3, but it packs a lot into the car in terms of space. The charging port is on this side of the car. The highest charging speed it will do will be 150 kilowatts. Smaller batteries, about 134 kilowatt charging speed, so still pretty good. 17% of the new EX30 is made from recycled plastic. 17% of it. It uses up to 30% less steel and aluminium than some of Volvo's much larger cars, like the soon-to-be incoming EX90. So quite sustainable when it comes to the materials used in the vehicle. We'll get to a little bit more of that later on. The boot release is just discreetly placed here in this black strip over the Volvo logo on the back. It's a 318 litre boot, which is on the smaller size. There's no getting away from that. It would be amazing if it was closer to 400, 380. It's still okay. Like, you'll get a couple of suitcases into it, you'll get the week shopping. They've also included a very handy guide here, which gives you an idea of how many. It's called Will It Fit, and essentially you look at it and you go, okay, it'll take a pram, it'll take a lamp from IKEA, and according to Volvo, it will take a golf club. So you can always use that as a reference. There's a little bit of a false floor as well, so this part sits in, and you can drop that and lower it, give yourself a little bit more space, should you wish. And it is quite dark. This is a pre-production vehicle, it has to be said. You can order the car now, but you won't get it until either the very end of this year, probably into 2024, and you're going to wait for the new plate anyway. It would make more sense. A little bit of a boot spoiler here. You do get a rear wiper. Another thing that a lot of brands are leaving out of cars these days, and it does drive some of you mad. I know from a lot of the comments. Again, nothing really fussy going on down here. There's kind of grooves on the plastic here. That's it. The light cluster is very, very bright. Some people have compared it to the Ford Explorer, which is obviously another car that's going to want a bit of the action when it comes to Volvo. So this particular car is using top of the range seats, which again have been used by recycled materials. Very, very convincing leather feel to these seats. However, you're not getting a center armrest, maybe something you might expect Cosworths of Volvo to have. What they have included though is they say, we used to in years gone by have a map in the back of these seats, and now we use our phones to get everywhere with maps. So they've put a phone holder that you can just very easily pop in here at the back of the seat. Now, I have done this in the ID3 and ID4 to be fair to them, but I just can't help but think, if you're using your phone, you're probably going to use the front to see where you're going. There's 2 USB-C charging ports here, and in an effort to save some money and pass that on in the savings of buying the car, Volvo have made the window buttons here in the centre, same up front, so there's less fuss going on in the doors of the vehicle, and again reducing the price of the car. I have to say it again, it's €38,500 starting from. Now, that will fluctuate to mid-50s depending on what motor and size battery you want to go for. Final word on leg room, it's all right. There's room for your feet below. I'm not 6 foot, but I've seen other people talking about the car who are 6 foot and they've managed to just about squeeze into the back. So I'm not saying it's not tight, it is, but the doors open at a decent angle and getting in and out of the vehicle should be a bit easier because of that. If you do go for the glass roof, it's not going to be cheap extra, but it's going to be add the sense of space inside. So to get into the science bit, there's a couple of battery options. So you've got a lithium iron phosphate battery, which is a different chemical makeup compared to a traditional lithium iron battery. So it's less intensive for finding materials for it. It's actually a type of battery that is better at charging more frequently. So if you're only going to use this car as a city car, you can get that smaller battery. It's 51 kilowatt hour gross. That will give you a range of just under 350 kilometers, and that's on a single motor. Now you can get the longer range, different chemical makeup battery, still on single motor, or you can get dual motor, which pushes this car to well over 400 brake horsepower. That would make it the fastest production car Volvo have ever made, and a little over 3 seconds to 60, which is incredible because this is a family SUV. So the performance of it will be absolutely outrageous, and any of the dual motored Volvos I've driven in the past, the electric ones, are really, really quick in straight lines and generally manage to handle pretty well too. So lots of options depending on whether you want dual motor, extended range, the cheaper version, and if you do want the dual motor, longer range version of the car, you are going to be paying about €55,000. So you can definitely say there's something for everybody in the price, but there's a lot going on with the batteries. 2 different charging speeds, as I mentioned, 134 kilowatt and 150 kilowatt charging will come as standard. And you'll be able to get over-the-air updates on the car, keep the software up to date at all times. Final word on the battery capacity, the larger one is 69 kilowatt hours. That will give you a range of about 450 kilometers. The price will obviously increase accordingly. So having a look inside, one thing I can confirm is that this is a 12.3-inch screen. It's powered by Google, which Volvo have used in their cars for quite a few years, and Polestar. Their Spotify comes integrated. You put in a destination nav and it tells you what percentage battery state of charge you have by the time you get your destination. Very, very handy. Always works really well, and will have live real traffic time, the same as your Google Maps will on your phone. It's also got 5G connectivity, so you get faster connections when you're doing things within the car. Someone's turning on and off the lights. I don't know if it's last orders here or what exactly is going on. Slightly different steering wheel to what we're used to in Volvo. There's more of a square sense from it. You've got black plastic buttons. There's haptic activity going on with these. Your stalks are here, including your gear selector. There is an infrared sensor here to keep an eye on you, and if you haven't spotted it yet, there's no instruments in front of the driver. It's just this center display. If you're familiar with Tesla and what they do in terms of your speedo and your surroundings and the safety equipment, then you'll be familiar with how this works. And much like the back of the car, the button controls are here with an extra area here that pops out and gives you more storage for a drinks holder. So it's like a clever use of space, but they've saved extra money by, again, not having more control units and modules in the doors. If you go with certain trim specs, you'll see some of the recycled materials along the side of the car. Clever use of space is a big thing in this car, so they've moved the glove box to here instead of here, so you can just stretch it. Like, clever use of space is used all over. You'll get up to 5 profiles with a digital key, so you can share the car with people should you wish. It'll even know who you are, save your seat memory, and load up the music that you like in the vehicle. So very, very intuitive. Soundbar here, Harman Kardon one. It's not going to be standard, but it has the power of 6 speakers in the front. So good use of space, loads of visibility, great connectivity. That Google system works very, very well, and I think you're going to feel like it's the baby Volvo of the range, in fairness, with certain elements. But if you kind of embrace that and enjoy the recycled material and stuff like that, it's going to feel quite quirky. Also in the vehicle will be Apple CarPlay from CarPlay as standards, and there'll be wireless charging. Towing capacity is about starting from 1,000 kilograms to 1,500. That's if you go for the dual motor version. So depending on range, again, that might be important to you, but 1,000 to 1,500. If you've ever thrown a pair of recycled, or ever thrown a pair of jeans in to be recycled, they could be in those seats, because that's just another element of how the recycling of the car works with the materials. I just got to keep bringing it back to the price. Yes, if you go to the top spec and your dual motor, it's going to cost you an awful lot of money, but to have this car for less than €40,000 with a Volvo badge in the front is very, very interesting indeed. The company is owned by a Chinese company. We would all be talking about the Chinese brands that are coming over here, undercutting that €40,000 mark, and now a household name in Ireland like Volvo have done exactly the same. Please let me know your thoughts on the car, what do you think about it. Would it convince you to go electric finally? Because of the price, because of the badge, because of the all-round sustainability of the car. Volvo said it'll be carbon neutral by 2040. This car is going to be a really big part of that. Hope you enjoyed today's video and today's look at the brand new baby-sized Volvo. That's again less than €40,000 in Ireland. I can't believe I'm saying it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.